So week 17 startup. Number 1, it says a jewelry store buys small boxes in which to wrap items that they sell. The diagram below shows one of the boxes. Find the lateral area and the surface area of the box to the nearest whole number. Now, so let's think about our formulas. If we're talking about lateral area and surface area, first of all, we need to know what shape this is. This is a prism. And when we're talking about prisms and the lateral area for a prism would be the perimeter of the base times the height. That gives us the lateral area. Now, surface area is perimeter of the base plus twice the area of the base. Notice that lateral area is part of your surface area. So, what do we have? Here are my dimensions. This is one length. There's the other length of the base. So we have to find that perimeter. So perimeter would be 14 plus 6 plus 14 plus 6. That's perimeter. And my height is 1.69. So complete that operation and I will get my lateral area. So my lateral area, 14 plus 6 plus 14 plus 6. Perimeter is 40. And I'm going to multiply that times 1.69. And that will give me a value of 67.6. Now, this is area, so that's squared centimeters. Now, I can use that same value because that's what that right there is, my pH, perimeter times my height. So when solving for surface area, it's going to be 67.6 plus 2 times the area of the base. Area of the base is this part right here. So I have 67.6 plus 2 times 14 times 6. Because that's a rectangle. 14 times 6 gives us 84. So I have 67.6 plus 2 times 84. And we could put all this in our calculator at once and then get an answer. And when we do that, we get an answer of 235.6. And that is centimeters squared. So 235.6 centimeters squared would be our answer. That's a little low, maybe you can't see it. And now number 2. Find the surface area of the cylinder to the nearest whole number. This is a cylinder. It tells us that. So the surface area for a cylinder is 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. And I know we've had a condensed formula, but either way works. So we plug in what we know. And that condensed value or formula would be this, if you do not remember. Either one works, doesn't matter. Here is my height, here is my radius. So I'm going to say 2 times pi radius times my height plus 2 pi radius squared. And I'm going to put all that in my calculator, and I'm going to let pi be equal to 3.14 because it says nearest whole number as my solution. So I'm going to say 2 times 3.14 times 11 times 16. That gives me 1105.28. I'm going to break it up. So I'm going to have now 11 squared times 2 times 3.14 gives me 7 759.88. Add those two numbers together. So 759.88 plus 1105.28 gives me 1865.16. Now, the direction says for me to leave this in whole number. So my answer would be 1865. And this is surface area, so it's squared inches. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 says find the surface area of the regular pyramid shown to the nearest whole number. So finding the surface area for the regular pyramid shown to the nearest whole number, this is number 3. So the formula for surface area of a pyramid equals perimeter times the height divided by 2, because each one of these sides are triangles. We see that. Plus, and there's only one base. So here is my base. It is a 5 by 5 by 5. So, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up my formula. I apologize. It's not height. It's slant height, so that should be an L. I'm sorry. That should be slant height, so that's an L. So the perimeter is 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, or just 5 times 4 because it's a square, times my slant height, which is right here, of 7, divided by 2. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my perimeter, or my area of my base. It's a square, so it's a 5 squared. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 gives us 20 times 7 divided by 2 plus 25. So that's 25 plus 70. So it is 95 squared feet is our solution. And let's go to number 4. Find the volume of the composite shape figure or space figure to the nearest whole number. Anytime you have composite figures, you need to separate them into the different shapes that you have. First of all, we have this prism right here, tracing it out. Then we have this half of a cylinder. Notice I said half, that's very important. All of this up here is half of a cylinder. Alright, so we've got two different ones. Volume for a prism and volume for a cylinder. So the volume for a cylinder, I'm going to keep it in green, would be the area of the base times its height. But more specifically would be pi r squared h. But since it's just half of a cylinder, I'm going to go ahead and divide that by 2. This 11 can be transposed to here. And if this whole side is 9, that's my diameter. So my radius is 4.5. Take half of it. So I have pi times 4.5 squared times 11 divided by 2. Now for the prism, area of it is area of the base times the height, which is area of the base is 9 times 11. If I can see it visually back through here, this is my base right in here, and times my height would be 6. Once I get all of that worked out, I will add the two together. So it says nearest whole number, so I'm going to use 3.14 for pi. So I'm going to say 11 times 4.5 squared times 3.14 divided by 2. I get an answer of 349.72. And then if I go 9 times 11 times 6, I get 594. Adding those two together, I get 943.72. But it says nearest whole number, so I'm going to say 944 this is actually cubic millimeters. Because we're talking about volume, it's cubic. rounding to the nearest whole number. Let's go to number 5. Number 5 says find the volume of the right cone shown as a decimal rounded to the nearest tenth. Volume for a cone, area of the base times the height divided by 3. But what's the shape of the base? It's a circle, so it's pi r squared h divided by 3. So my diameter is 18, so that means r equals 9. Pi 9 squared times 26 divided by 3. And we're rounding to the nearest number tenth, so pi needs to equal 3.14. Plugging that in a calculator, just chunk it all in. 9 squared times pi times 26 divided by 3. Rounded to the nearest tenth is 2176.2. That's what I get as my solution. There we go. And this is, cubic meters. Cubic meters. We're still dealing with volume. I'm sorry, I can't plug some stuff in. I need to make a correction on my math. And I need to make a bigger eraser. So 3.14 times 9 squared times 26 divided by 3 is 2204. 0.28. So I'm rounding that to the nearest tenth. I don't know what I did wrong a while ago. I apologize. So 2204.3. And let's move on to the last one, number 6. It's a sphere. Find the volume of a sphere. Give your answer rounded to the nearest cubic unit. So that's a whole number. In order to find the volume or anything of a sphere, we need to know the radius. And if the diameter is 11, that means radius equals 5.5. And 4/3 pi r cubed is the formula for volume of a sphere. So I'm going to plug that in. 4 times 3.14 times 5.5 cubed. So I'm going to say 5.5 cubed. 5.5 cubed times 3.14 times 4 divided by 3. I get a number of 696.55. And now we're asked to round to the nearest unit, so that would be 697 cubic centimeters. And that is the startup for this week. Going back and working in surface area again.